Meeting having arrived, all members will come to the floor of the House and take seats and get ready to go to work. All members. All members will come to the floor of the House of Representatives. We're about to call the roll. We're already 1 minute late. All members. We are going to call the roll. The clerk will unlock the machines. All members will vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Before we begin today, I want to have us take just a moment to welcome 3 new members to this body. Representative John Carson from the 43rd House District. Representative Carson. From the 10th House District, Representative Terry Rogers. And from the 25th House District, Representative Emery Donahue. Well, I want to welcome all of you back. It is my honor to declare that the 2012 session of the Georgia General Assembly is now called to order, and we are in session. I hope all of you enjoyed a pleasant time over the holiday season with your families, and I want to tell you that I can sense that this house is ready to go to work. I also can tell you that this state that we love faces big challenges, but I am excited about our future as a state, and I look forward to the good work that I know each and every one of you is going to do this session. And I want to tell you that I know that once again this House will stand strong and will lead as we go forward. So I have the honor today of introducing the chaplain of the day. Our chaplain today is a very special and dear friend of mine. Dr. Tom Jordan came to the First Baptist Church of Epworth in Fannin County about 24 years ago, and has been there since as the senior pastor. He received his undergraduate degree from Mercer University and holds graduate degrees from the Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, the Louisiana Baptist University, and the Southern Baptist School for Biblical Studies. And you're going to find out in a minute that he is a very eloquent and powerful man of God, and is one of the finest preachers that I have ever had the pleasure of listening to and knowing. But not only does he minister, but Tom gives so much back to our community. He has been the deputy coroner of Fannin County for 14 years. He served on the building authority and is the chaplain to the Fannin County Emergency Management Services. He has also been very, very active in adult education in our community, and I don't know of anyone who means more to our community in Fannin County than Tom Jordan. He will probably tell you that one of the finest things he did, other than answer the call to the gospel, was to marry his wife Priscilla, and we have her with us today, and I hope you will welcome her to the House Chamber. Priscilla. At this time, it is my honor to introduce our chaplain of the day, Dr. Tom Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is an honor and it is a privilege and an humbling experience to stand before you today. Now, I am a practitioner of the KISS principle when it comes to public speaking. Keep it short and simple. Thank you. In the New Testament, Paul was a very prolific writer. As you read through the New Testament, he had letters that he wrote to many churches and personal friends, and that was, of course, the main form of communication in the New Testament Roman world. As you read those letters, you find great insights into life. He wrote the following to a church called Philippi. Brethren, I count myself not to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting the things which are behind, and reaching forth unto the things that are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. There are several lessons that we all can learn from this letter to the church at Philippi, and especially these passages. Number one, we cannot comprehend, nor can we understand all things that are happening in our lives, nor in our state, nor in our nation for that matter. There are things many times that are beyond our understanding. Therefore, we live in a constant state of faith daily. You and I experience faith in coming here this morning, in driving here. We live in a constant state of faith. Too many times we struggle with what we do not apprehend, we do not understand, instead of putting our focus on what we do understand and what we can accomplish. Too often we spend a great deal of time trying to answer the question why and finding no answers. Instead, ask what in situations, and what purpose out of that situation can I use to do something better for myself and someone else. Also, there's a time to forget the things which are behind. The past is gone. It is now behind us. We have entered a new year. It is a time for you, it is a time for myself to put behind many things of the past and focus on the present and to focus on the future. Those who live only in the past will die in the present without a faith for the future. The time is upon us, thirdly, to reach forth to the things which are before us. There is much to do, and we have an obligation to accomplish those goals as servants of God and our citizens of Georgia. That verse says, we press. That word press means to march. When I served in the United States Army as a chaplain, we went through Army Chaplain's Basic. During that time, we were officers, and over us were DIs, drill sergeants. We marched to breakfast. We marched to lunch. We marched to bivouac. We marched everywhere we went. On the last day of Basic, the colonel spoke to me, and he said, "You know why you've been marching everywhere you go?" And I said, "To be honest, no, I don't, sir." His response was, "It is to teach you to work together as a unit, as a team of cooperation, so that when you go to your assignments, you work together." We press toward the mark That word mark means a target. It's an archery term from the New Testament world. We have a target to reach, a target to aim for. And in that target, there is a prize to be obtained. And that is, for you and for me, well done, good and faithful servants. We are servants, all of us. You have a sacred obligation of servanthood to the people of our great state. You have a high calling that you've accepted upon your election to represent the citizens of this state, just as I have a high calling upon my election to serve God in Christ Jesus and my fellow citizens. Let us march towards the gold and the prize. May we move forward this year, putting the past behind and reaching forth into the present and the future needs of our great state by marching forward to the target of our calling. Let us pray. Lord, another year has dawned with a chance for a new start. May we be wiser, Lord, in all we say and do. Let us not become so caught up in the selfish gain that we would fail to see the things in life that mean the most cost not a fancy fee. The kind words of encouragement that we can give, our outstretched hands to help those in need, these are more precious than wealth. We know not what lies ahead of laughter or of tears. We only need to know each day that you are walking near. We are thankful for this new year, and now we humbly pray, may our hands be secure in yours, dear Lord, each step along the way. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 109th District, Chairman Davis.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Welcome back. The Committee on Information and Audits has read and reviewed the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct.
Chairman Davis of the 109th House District, the Chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. O'Neill, 146, moves the following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period of unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading of bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, morning orders, opening day resolutions, privilege resolutions through morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of House bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 658, by Representative Lindsay of the 54th, bill being entitled Amendment Title 51 relating general provisions for damages, change provisions relating to reduction of earnings to present value.
Judiciary.
House Bill 659, by Representative Wilkinson, 52nd, bill being entitled Amendment Title 16 relating to reckless conduct, change provisions relating to hazing.
Education.
House Bill 660, by Representative Smith, 129th, bill being entitled Amendment Code Section 4857.4 relating to ad valorem taxation, conservation use property.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 661, by Representative Hurd, the 114th, bill being entitled Amendment Title 20 relating to charter schools, require professional personnel in charter schools comply with same certification.
Education.
House Bill 662, by Representative Manning, and 32nd, bill to be entitled Amendment Title 20 relating to blind persons, braille literacy rights, and education, provide definitions requiring evaluation of blind or visually impaired child, determine the child's need for braille instruction.
Education.
House Bill 663, by Representative Neal the 1st, bill to be entitled Amendment Title 35 relating to Georgia Crime Information Center, change provisions relating to inspection, purging, modifying, supplementing criminal records.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 665, by Representative Mallix, 127th, bill entitled Amendment Title 50 relating to civil practice, courts, property, estate, printing documents, storage of documents, so modernized provisions relating to storage, collection, access, transmission of documents housed in the Clerk's Superior Court office.
Judiciary.
House Bill 666, by Representative Weldon, 3rd, bill entitled Amendment Title 43 relating to license and regulation of practices of electrical contracting, low voltage electrical contract.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 667, Representative Benfield, the 85th, bill entitled Amendment Title 21 relating to elections, and act agreement among the states to elect president.
Governmental Affairs.
House Resolution 1072, by Representative Crawford, the 16th, resolution proposing amendment of the Constitution providing paramount right, life is vested in human being from the moment of fertilization.
Judiciary.
House Resolution 1093, by Representative Marion, the 96th, resolution urging local boards of education to apply for federal funding, retrofit school buses.
Education.
Senate Bill 279 by Senator Brown, 26th, bill entitled Amendment Act known as the Macon-Bibb County Water and Sewerage Authority Act.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Through the first readers.
Second reading of House bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
HB 644 by Representative Bell of the 58th, the bill relating to health. HB 645 by Representative Morris of the 155th, a bill relating to service for which no credit received for retirement purposes shall be granted under the Superior Clerk's Retirement Fund of Georgia. HB 646 by Representative Dawkins Taylor of the 93rd, a bill relating to health. HB 647 by Representative Powell of the 29th, a bill relating to income taxes. HB 648 by Representative Gullick of the 34th, a bill relating to courts and legal defense for indigents. HB 649 by Representative Harbin of the 118th, a bill relating to self-service storage facilities. HB 650 by Representative Hurd of the 114th, a bill relating to local government. HB 651 by Representative Maxwell of the 17th, a bill relating to financing under the Quality Basic Education Act. HB 652 by Representative Murphy of the 120th, a bill to provide for an advisory referendum election be held in Augusta, Richmond County. HB 653 by Representative Benfield of the 85th, a bill relating to inmate policies and penal institutions. HB 654 by Representative Setzler of the 35th, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education. HB 655 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, a bill relating to control of hazardous conditions, preventable diseases, and metabolic disorders. HB 656 by Representative Jacobs of the 80th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to privileged witnesses. HB 657 by Representative Holcomb of the 82nd, a bill relating to waste management. HB 664 by Representative Jones of the 46th, a bill relating to retirement and pensions. HR 880 by Representative Maddox of the 127th, a resolution creating House Study Committee on open loop geothermal heating and cooling systems. HR 881 by Representative Lindsay at the 54th, resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution of the State of Georgia so as to limit the function performed in incorporated areas. HR 89977 by Representative Golick at the 34th, a resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution so as to authorize the General Assembly to provide by law for dedication of certain existing fees and assessments for the purpose of legal services for indigent persons. SB 268 by Senator Staton of the 18th, the bill to amend an act creating Board of Education for Jones County, through second readers.
Got him.
We've got some resolutions that we need to take up. The chair's going to ask that the House come to order, please. Members, please take their seats and come to order, and if you have important business to discuss, then we've got plenty of room out in the anteroom or out in the hall for you to do that. Clerk will read a resolution.
House Resolution 1096, Representative Ralston, 7. A resolution to notify the Senate the House of Representatives has convened.
Chair recognizes the majority leader of this House, the gentleman from the 146th House District, Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I ask your favorable consideration of House Resolution 1096, where we go tell the Senate that we're in session, we're working, we're doing business, and ready to do business with them. If there are no questions, I ask your favorable consideration.
I really want the Senate to know that we're working. You have no questions. Is there all in favor of the resolution will vote green. Those opposed will vote red, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On House Resolution 1096, the ayes are 162, the nays are 0. This body has voted that we will notify the Senate that we are in session. Clerk will read a resolution.
House Resolution 1097 by Representative Ralston, 7th, a resolution calling a joint session, House Representatives and Senate, for the purpose of hearing a message from the Governor inviting the Justice of the Supreme Court, Judges of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader, Leader O'Neill, to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's an honor to ask your favorable consideration of this resolution to invite His Excellency Nathan Deal, the Governor of the State of Georgia, to address a joint session of this General Assembly. I'll yield for any questions. Otherwise, ask for your favorable consideration of House Resolution 1097.
You have no questions. All those in favor of adopting House Resolution 1097 will vote green. Those opposed will vote red, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the adoption of House Resolution 1097, the ayes are 164, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted, and we have moved to call a joint session of the General Assembly, which will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, January the 10th at 7 o'clock p.m. However, I'm going to ask you today, and I'll ask you again tomorrow, it is very important that you be in here and be at your seats by 6:45 tomorrow. We're going to we may try to get some of the preliminaries out of the way before 7 o'clock. Clerk will read another resolution.
House Resolution 1098, Representative Ralston, 7th, a resolution calling a joint session, House Representatives Senate, for the purpose of hearing a message from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House, Leader O'Neill, to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's also an honor to ask your favorable consideration on House Resolution 1098 to invite the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia to address a joint session of this House and the Senate on Wednesday, January 25th at 11 a.m., although we will ask you again to be in your seats at 10:45 that day. If there are no questions, I'll yield the well and ask your favorable consideration of House Resolution 1098.
Don't appear to have any questions. On the adoption of House Resolution 1098, those all in favor of the resolution will vote green. Those opposed will vote red, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of House Resolution 1098. The ayes are 165, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received a requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Clerk will read another resolution.
House Resolution 1099, Representative O'Neill of the 146th, a resolution relative to adjournment and for other purposes.
You may want to pay attention to this one. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House, Leader O'Neill, to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring before you a first adjournment resolution of this session. Hopefully it will help each of you be able to make plans with your family and your businesses back home. Could we get the clerk to put it up? I think it's easier, but to sum it up, we'll be in all 5 days this week. We will then adjourn for the following week that begins with the Martin Luther King holiday a week from today. We'll be adjourned that entire week. We'll return the following Monday, which is January 23rd, and be in session through Thursday, January 26th, after which we will regroup and see what we're going to do next. I ask your favorable, if there are any questions, I'd be glad to yield for those. Otherwise, I ask your favorable consideration of this, our first adjournment resolution of this session.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. All those in favor of the adoption of House Resolution 1099 will vote green. Those opposed will vote red, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will unlock the machines, lock the machines. On the adoption of House Resolution 1099, the ayes are 167, the nays are 0. The resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. We're going on now to morning orders. If you have a morning order, Chair will ask you to make your way down to the front. Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Atwood. Representative Atwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, Representative. I didn't know you were being joined by the chairman of the Reapportionment Committee. So I'll recognize him in the well, too. Representative Atwood, joined by Chairman Roger Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, we are very pleased to have 40 members from our districts of the Gateway Behavioral Health Services. We've also got Representative Spencer here, and I would ask that you join me in welcoming them to the People's House. Stand up. They provide such very needed services to our community, helping with addiction care for adults, mental health for children and adolescents, as well as developmental disability care for adults. And thank you so much for what you do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Hatfield and Representative Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. Last Wednesday, a meeting was held at Waycross College in Waycross by the Chancellor of the University System of Georgia and the Chair of the Board of Regents to reveal to Waycross College personnel and our local elected officials the intention of the Chancellor and Board of Regents to merge or consolidate Waycross College into South Georgia College, which is located over an hour's drive away in Douglas, Georgia. The merger was said to be for budgetary reasons and was to provide a great cost savings. Upon questioning as to the exact or even the relative amount of cost savings to be experienced as a result of this merger, the Chancellor indicated to Waycross Mayor Clarence Billups, Ware County Commission Chairman Jimmy Brown, and myself that he had no idea as to what cost savings were involved, that they had no idea as to any amount. Now, I further asked the Chancellor as to whether or not they had studied the likely loss of enrollment or decrease in enrollment due to the consolidation of these schools. They likewise have not studied that and have no idea what the impact of any potential loss of enrollment would be. We have in Waycross been, to say the least, flabbergasted by the decision by the university system to take these steps, particularly in light of the fact that this was rolled out in this meeting last Wednesday, and the Board of Regents intends to vote on this matter tomorrow, on Tuesday, less than a week's notice. People in Waycross are upset about this. People in Waycross are mobilizing about this. I would like to recognize two gentlemen in the balcony, Reverend Pharrell Malone and Reverend Alton Carter, who are leading. Gentlemen, stand up, please. Thank you. These gentlemen are leading the effort in my hometown of Waycross to oppose this consolidation and to ask the Board of Regents to give us time, to give us at least a postponement of this vote that's scheduled for tomorrow so that they may obtain the facts and figures to determine whether or not this is a good decision. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask people in the university system, teachers, administrators, ask our students every day to go home and do their homework at night and to come back and present that homework. I'm asking on behalf of Waycross and all the communities that are being affected by these mergers around the state, I'm asking the Board of Regents to go home and do their homework and come forward with some facts and figures to tell us exactly what is to be saved, if anything, by these mergers, and give us the ability to see those numbers before any action is taken. This is an action that has far-reaching consequences and is going to be devastating for our community, and I suspect other communities across the state. I ask you to join with me.
Well, I couldn't have said any better. As you know, in rural communities like Waycross, even in Tifton and Douglas, these small colleges add something to the community. I went to ABAC in Tifton, Georgia. It would be like ABAC being consolidated with another school, or maybe even merged with another institution, or even possibly closed. This will have a negative impact, I believe, on Waycross, and I think it's incumbent upon the Board of Regents to do their homework, to give us feasibility studies, and to tell us if or not that the enrollments are suffering and consolidation is actually needed. So I stand with the citizens of Waycross and Ware County and Southeast Georgia to oppose this consolidation. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes for a morning order the chairman of the State Institutions and Property Committee, Chairman Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it is a great day to be in Georgia. We are not only resuming session for this 2012 session, but this is a special day. We have people from all over the state. I would dare say that probably every one of us have someone from our district that's here today as part of the Addiction Recovery Awareness Day rally. In the gallery, would you all stand just for a moment if you would? In the gallery, you see some of the folks that have made it in for the rally today. And we asked you to join us today at 11:15 on the South Wing steps of the Capitol. We've got some special speakers lined up. You need to be there. Let me just share with you two speakers that are going to be there. I don't think I need to share others for you to understand the encouragement that you might have to be there. House Speaker David Ralston will be speaking at the rally today. And Governor Nathan Deal will be speaking as well. We want to come together. This is, I'm sure you're aware that criminal justice reform is going to be a major topic this session. And when you're talking about addiction recovery, when you're talking about the fact that people with addiction can recover and live productive lives, and we're celebrating that today as we celebrate Addiction Recovery Awareness Day. Come join us at 11:15 South Wing Steps for the Addiction Recovery Awareness Day rally. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes, this could be trouble, the chairman of the Regulated Industries Committee, the chairman of the Education Subcommittee of Appropriations, and Vice Chairman Weldon, Chairman Dixon and Vice Chairman Weldon. This sounds like a Northwest Georgia kind of thing. For a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and we hope we don't cause any trouble this morning. We bring to you again the traditional opening reception at the depot. It's rug night, and we've got one this time I think you're going to really appreciate and hopefully treasure it. So we're going to show it to you. The reception's tonight at the depot from 4 to 6, and you got to be there to get your rug. But there we go.
Mr. Chairman, did you say you had to be present to win?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, this rug belongs to you, but they only gave me one, so we've got to share it with the Senate, but it will come back over here to you to be the first one to get one.
Excuse me?
We'll decontaminate it with you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Sims.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. I'm reminding you about local legislation. And if you will, if you've got your red book, look at under 18 and 18.1, and let me explain it to you. Delegation rules need to be submitted as soon as possible for all bills this year. All bills submitted will be considered under the current delegation rules, and any changes must be in as soon as possible if you wish to submit a bill, a local bill, for any rules changes. You can change those rules anytime you want. If there are no delegation rules, let me remind you that it takes a unanimous vote of the entire delegation to pass the local bill. I just want to remind you of that. Reapportionment bills, local reapportionment bills will be submitted. They need to be in this month if they can. You've got to get all these bills submitted to the Department of Justice for approval. Please get those in as soon as possible so that your local elections won't be affected. It's very important that you start this process. You start getting if your delegations can, you're not got a lot of stuff going on this week, please meet with your delegations. If y'all are going to do rules changes, please do these as soon as possible. It takes time. Whenever we do a reapportionment bill locally, it does have to be submitted to the reapportionment office for approval, and then it comes back to us. So the more of these bills come in, the more time it's going to take. Please do that as soon as you can. If you got any questions, come see me at my desk. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We have another morning order or two and some announcements, but the chair is going to exercise its discretion to introduce the Doctor of the Day. The Doctor of the Day is always a special occasion every day, but particularly on day one every year. Many of you may remember that this program was started by the late Dr. Jim Kaufman, who founded the Kaufman Clinic here in Midtown Atlanta. And was one of the great leaders in the medical community in this city and in this state for many, many years. And the good work of the Doctor of the Day program has been carried on by his son, my friend, my doctor. I got nervous when I looked over there and saw him. But Dr. Bobby Kaufman has continued that good work. Dr. Kaufman's a graduate of the University of Georgia in the Morehouse School of Medicine, and he too has been active as a leader in the medical community, not only here in the city of Atlanta, but all over the state of Georgia. Please make welcome our Doctor of the Day, Dr. Bobby Kaufman.
Thank you very much. Today is always one of my favorite days, coming down on the opening day of the session. Certainly a lot better than last year with the weather we had, but it's a pleasure being here. And but I really want y'all to meet the most important person. We have a new nurse replacing Elsie, Miss Suzanne Smith, and I'm sure she's going to do a great job for us. But as you well know, she's the most important person in the medical aid station, much more than me. But hope y'all have a good session and take care. Sure.
Let's get a picture. Okay, we have another morning order, and I don't think we've only had one sign up for an announcement, so when we get to that part, we're going to go rather quickly. Chair recognizes the chairman of the Ethics Committee, Chairman Wilkinson, for a morning order. What do you got, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Speaker Dog, I got us a resolution that you authored honoring the legendary voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, Larry Munson. On Wednesday, we're going to bring in Lauren Smith and Larry's son, and we're going to honor Larry and the great things he did for this state. Of course, Speaker Dog, it may take us a gazillion days to get it signed. I mean, let's face it, the whole conference is cheering against us. And those boys on North Avenue, for gosh sakes, Tommy Benton is a chairman, and this Brockway kid, let me tell you, this Brockway kid's coming on strong. Who names a kid Buzz? We're hanging on by our fingernails. We're going to try to get those signatures. We're trying. And thank goodness for Susan Holmes. She just ran over two senior legislators to sign this resolution. And she's a freshman, for gosh sakes. All right, guys, I hate to ask, but you've got to do it just one more time. Would you hunker down, come down here, sign this resolution honoring Larry? Speaker Dog, maybe old Lady Luck will really be with us on Wednesday. Speaker Dog, I yield the well.
I think we got the picture. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that many of you are coming down here and to sign this resolution, but the The chair wants to take a minute to give a real tribute to one of our members who, for the good work he did yesterday. There weren't many of you there, and I hope next year when I go again, there will be more of you at the E.C. Tillman Memorial Prayer Service that was held yesterday in the Rotunda. This was a tradition that was started back some 15 years ago or so by a former member of this body, a member of the Democratic Party from down in southeast Georgia, and a member of the Republican Party from Gwinnett County, jointly. And I just want to say publicly that I am so proud that Representative Al Williams has renewed that tradition. And I had the time of my life there yesterday, and I can't wait till next year, Al, and I'm hoping that we'll see a few more members. I took a roll yesterday of who was there. So thank you, Representative Williams, for your work on the organizing and putting on the prayer service. We have two members that have signed up for announcements. Clerk will read a group of privileged resolutions. The clerk will read.
Resolution by Representative Lindsay, the 54th, recognizing and commending University of Georgia's amazing student, Adria Thornton. A resolution by Representative Holt, 112, recognizing and commending Covington Fire Chief Don Floyd, occasion of his retirement. And a resolution by Representative Dudgeon of the 24th, recognizing student leaders at Georgia Tech and welcoming them for Georgia Tech Student Day at the Capitol through the privileged resolutions.
Is there objection to the adoption of the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none. The resolutions are adopted. Chair recognizes the chairman of the Science and Technology Committee, Chairman Amerson, for a resolution. Announcement, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's give the gentleman your attention, please.
This is to all of you who've been invited to the 2 o'clock session having to do with the GE gas turbines. This is particularly relevant for the members of the Science and Technology Committee and the members of the Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee. That meeting will not be in the CLOB 403, but it will be upstairs in this Capitol building, room 403, at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Kendrick for an announcement.
Good morning. There is a flyer on your desk. Tomorrow is Small Business Day at the Capitol. There are going to be about 60 business owners in Suite 514 of the CLOB. So I know you're going to be full from eggs and issues, but if you can come on over and greet them, they would love to see your smiling face. And if you have any more questions about this, do let me know. But thank you so much for your attention and time. And I look forward to potentially starting a small business caucus. So if anybody's interested in small businesses, please let me know. Thank you.
There appear to be no other announcements. No other announcements. I'll remind you again, as I will again tomorrow morning, that tomorrow evening all members need to be in here and in their seats by 6:45 p.m. 6:45 for the State of the State. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move this House now stand at ease until 5 p.m. this afternoon, at which time we shall adjourn until 10 a.m. Tuesday, January 10th, 2012.
On the motion of the majority leader of this House, that this House stand in recess until 5 o'clock p.m. today, at which time we will be adjourned until 10 o'clock a.m. Tuesday, January 10. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. All those opposed will say no. The ayes clearly have it, and this House will be in recess until 5 o'clock p.m., at which time we'll be adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow. 10 a.m. tomorrow.